Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I got a special unbagging of a magazine game, Strategy and Tactics. It's issue number 48. It was published in 1975. And this game has a special place for me. I was a freshman in high school in Louisiana, in New Orleans, 1976, I believe. And I had joined a wargaming club. And the teacher who ran that had a subscription to Strategy and Tactics magazine. And this was the very first Strategy and Tactics magazine game I ever got my hands on, laid my eyes on, played with. And I took this home, and I don't ever remember finishing a game, but I sure had fun reading the articles and playing around, fiddling, whatever I did do at the time. Anyway, I saw this on eBay a while back. I picked it up with shipping for $13.50. And it is in very good condition. Now, it came with the original mailing envelope. I've got the original recipient's name covered up, but I keep this in the bag as part of the collection of this particular game. And one of the things that really impressed me, I can remember as a kid, and we'll get into it here in a minute, are the counters and just the color scheme, the map, which we'll get into. And I was blown away by the idea of a magazine that contained a game. And again, I was a freshman in high school. Was I 14 years old? Something like that. So this is one of the games that's on my playlist for Tack Up. So hopefully I'll get this on the table and get a gameplay video done. Kind of backed up with things I'm working on right now. But I did want to share this because, like I said, it's kind of got a special place for me. So if you look at the magazine, let's go ahead and get this out of here so we don't have to worry about seeing somebody's name there. Now, my father was in the Navy at the time, so I was a Navy brat. Loved the A4s, F4s, all the naval jets. Used to watch them take off and land all the time. I'd go fishing at the end of the runway where I really wasn't supposed to be. Security would come and chase me and my buddies off. But we would sit there and have jets taking off and landing literally right over the top of our head because we were at the end of the runway there, and where I grew up in Alameda, at NAS Alameda. Anyway, I digress. So this is actually, oh, hold on. One of my cats was about to throw up, and we don't need that up here. Let her do it on the floor. Okay, just had to make sure she was all right. So where were we? Okay, so this magazine. First off, you notice not super thick compared to some of the modern day magazines. But nice cover, very straightforward. I love this. There's no screwing around. You got a nice photograph. Let me slide that up a little bit so you can see. Okay. 3 articles. 6th Fleet, Global War, and then the game. So I guess 2 articles and a set of rules. There is some interesting stuff in here. We'll get into it. So you got some mail, things about some series. Here we go, the first article, 6th Fleet. Oh, look at that, right down the carrier deck. Still smoking from the last shot that took off. Ah, so cool. Okay, so this has got some information about, obviously, the Mediterranean. Now keep in mind, this game simulates what it was like with the Russians' Navy against the U.S. Navy in the Mediterranean in the 70s, and this game was produced in 1975. So they only had a few years to speculate how this might play out. Electronic warfare. Like I said, magazine's in really good shape. Easy to read. All sorts of information about what was actually deployed. So if you're into the history and the numbers, This has got some of that information in it. Very cool. It's on a non-glossy paper, which is nice. Again, font is easy enough to read. Shows, let me slide this down a little bit. Sorry, guys. Shows some anti-sub tactics. Interesting. The tactics of first strike. And this talks about naval tactics 1967 to 1980. So they're projecting a little bit, 5 years. Probably very accurate. Ground forces. Now, I find this one kind of interesting. There's a chart here. And this chart talks about ratings of games. When they were published, from contemporary and future, World War II, pre-World War II period, and who the publisher is. And so you see SPI, CGC, FBLZ, GDW. And there's some Avalon Hill, AH, Panzerblitz. Got a publication date, accepted rating, percent played, a complexity rating, a little BGG before its time. Solitaire playability, very interesting. That's almost worth an episode on its own just to go through and look at some of these numbers. Wow. Diplomacy's in here. Bunch of SPI, but not just. Some Richthofen's War, Avalon Hill. Published date 373. Acceptance rating at 6.33. Percent played 31. Complexity 4.4. And a 5.2 on solitaire playability. So now you know. Here's an article on women and war games. Again, that's from the letter section. That'd be interesting to see what people thought in 1975. And then the rules have been removed from the center of the magazine. They did a really good job. You'll see in a minute. There's no damage to the rules. I keep mine in, but it's the way it came. Also, Global War, which I think is also a game, but obviously not in the magazine. And this has got some raw materials, a lot of data. I haven't read this in a number of years, but we'll go through and do that. Page 35. Yeah. Now it's got deployment tables, divisional strength tables. That's kind of interesting. And naval strengths of the major powers and some more commentary. This is very interesting. SPI income and loss statement year ending and SPI balance sheet. 1974 annual report to subscribers. So just very quickly, I won't dive too much into this, but in 1972, their gross receipts were $654,805. That increased in 1973 to just over 1 million, and in 74 to almost 1.26 million. Very cool. Profit and loss. So in 73, they showed a loss of 200,000 on revenue of 1 million. And then in 74, with 1.26 million, they showed a profit of just under 60,000. Now that's salaries, advertising, customer service, rent, payroll, everything's in here. Bank charges, insurance, supplies. Wow. I wonder how many of these game publishers today would publish their balance sheets on their websites. Very interesting. And think about that, 1974, 1.3 million. Let that sink in. In 1974. A few more articles, miniature ship models, there we go. Not sure we could get those anymore. And feedback and questions, okay. And then an ad for Global War in the back. So 2 basic articles and the rules for 6th Fleet, and here they are. 3 columns, very easy to read. The font is nice. So what do we have? 1, 2, 3, excuse me, come on. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. Yep, game design notes, you know I love those. Optional rules. There's 2 scenarios in this game, which is kind of neat. There is a short play, which is a 10-turn scenario, which simulates the initial 3 days of a Mediterranean conflict, and a 21-game campaign scenario featuring a full week of operations. And again, this is all hypothetical. Special rules, terrain. I'm not sure how much land combat there would be, but I'm sure there may be some. Movement, zones of control, stacking, and basic stuff. Combat. Like I said, I will get this on the table relatively soon. But let's go ahead and take a look at the map and some of the counters. Okay, guys, so on the upper part of the map here, you'll see there are what look to be Soviet reinforcements and NATO reinforcements and a turn track. Here's some ship manifest, some Soviet aircraft holding boxes, same with the NATO, a few terrain, combat results in the lower corner here. And let me kind of zoom out a little bit so you can kind of get a sense of the map. Very nice. Now, like I said, I love this map. I love this style. So it's decent paper stock. It's not card stock. But there's just something about the color palette that I always loved. And these counters, I was intrigued by the different colors. Now, down at the bottom are the NATO and the US, and up on the top are the Russian. And I've already clipped these counters. I think I've done a count. I don't think I'm missing anything. I'll have to go back and recount, but I think I did that and that was good. So we'll get a nice, so you see the US, there's some French, it looks like Italian, Turkish, I'm assuming, yeah, aircraft, surface ships, submarines, helicopters, jets. Yeah, lots to play with here. There we go. So there you go, guys. One thing I did forget to do, let's take care of that, is give you the credits. And I could not find it anywhere on the map, not that it's not there, or in the rule book. The only place I could find it was here. Simulation, James F. Dunnigan, Redmond A. Simison. Hopefully I pronounced those correctly, gentlemen. Those are the only 2 credits that I see for this game. Now, maybe online, that's already been published. I'm just looking at what I have in front of me. So there we go. How old is this game? 75, 85, 95, 105, almost 40 years old. I had to count with my fingers because I'm old too. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you taking time to check out what I do here on the channel. If you haven't, please take time to subscribe, leave a comment. Maybe you've got some memories of playing this game or owning this game. I'd love to walk down memory lane with you. And as always, I'll talk to you in the next one. Goodbye for now.